What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today I'm jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're going to be visiting the restricted section for a video request. Someone has asked that I show what this would look like if you wanted to do the restricted section without barricades. And it's something that I hadn't actually planned on before, but I guess with the combination of things such as the Chaos Trial keys with mods like increased floor trap cost, or actually not the floor trap cost one specifically, but the expensive barricades, this would be something that you might run into that might be pretty useful. Although if you do have increased floor trap cost, the solution wouldn't work and you would want to use something very different. But this does make good use of wall space and does a good amount of damage in an area, so it would work okay.
Order will prevail.
Alright, so we're using Cygnus mainly because we're going to probably wind up dancing around the rift itself after a while.
Just like old times.
Nope.
I do love traps. Just like
Going to create this little lattice here to begin with.
right there. Perfect.
And that's how we'll get started.
Enemy has opened a minion portal.
I will go ahead and drop the stable hand there just because that's the place where I will initially want him. And eventually we'll trap up the walls here. Now, if you do have increased floor trap cost, when you're doing something like this, then you'll want to trap the walls first and come back for the floors. Alright. So the fire traps make really good work of pretty much everything. And once you get the enemies sort of grouped together, the AoE damage from lightning also works wonders. I'm taking experienced here because I'm alone and that doesn't give me a lot of leeway to set up the rift summons. Alright, now,
Like old times.
actually, don't want that. I have them on the end, so I don't really need to worry too much.
Traps. Just like old times.
About the fire coming from the sides.
An unstable rift is opening. Destroy it.
So that's a particularly bad place for the unstable rift. The worst place is at the top of the stairs because I lose the ability to keep track of these guys, and now I'm working to keep them back. If I had missed a few more shots or a few more guys got through, then I'd be in damage control mode and basically trying to move back towards the rift and kill everything. But that didn't happen, so we're good. Of course, if the enemies are a bit stronger or you're playing with multiple teammates, you will be dealing less damage, and so you will want to mix in some crowd control to really make sure that you're maintaining your damage output here. Alright. Trap will get him. There's a couple other things that I'm going to want to do here.
They will not pass. Perfect. Perfect.
That's more so for the guys that are going to be coming down later. The explosive guys really aren't that big of an issue if you don't have barricades, just because they don't really have anything permanent to deal damage to, and as such, they can't actually cost you any coin. They may blow up on either you or Guardian. As long as you have the HP to tank the hits, you should be fine, or you can just kill them. Either way, no problem. So we're going to grab Mini Master, and that's because it will allow us to simultaneously regenerate our mana and health, and it will also give us that extra damage and a bit more DPS. And because Cygnus isn't particularly great at dealing with grouped up enemies. It gives you a bit of an edge there that he normally doesn't possess. Okay, gotta make sure I don't get hit with too many arrows. Alright, and then this should be the last wave
That goes there.
that we have to deal with from these guys.
The boss minion has entered the battlefield.
Alright, almost done there. Alright, that's all of the explosive dudes. As long as you can stay away from Bull God, you really should be fine.
Boss minion has been taken down.
You just don't want to let him do his AoE slam because it'll disable whatever traps you happen to be nearby. And if you can get a charge off, he will run through the majority of your damage dealing traps. If they deal burst damage, they'll pretty much just shred him. So he's really not that hard of a boss to deal with as long as you don't try to stand and fight. He's more of an issue for melee characters than anyone else. Of course, most ranged characters can just kite. Alright, this is basically should be clean now. Those archers should just die on their way out. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is Spitfire here, Floor Scorcher facing this way,
On another front.
and that should mostly be what we need for the majority of our damage. Going to add another one of these, a slow trap to help them group up,
That goes there.
and then we're going to zap everything on their way down. Now there's going to be a couple of enemies that will peel off and go in the opposite direction. They should be on their own when they do that, so not going to be a big deal. See if you can catch these guys while they're in the air. Excuse me. Your wall chargers should definitely be able to do that, and if they do, then they hit for 4 times the damage, which is great. Alright. Gonna add some more fire here. Now, just in case anything decides to sort of split into this area, that will help us out there.
Opening. Get to
Now,
it and
on this
destroy it.
particular wave, this is not a bad spawn place for that rift, just because this is the only gate that you'll be dealing with, so it's particularly nice. Now, you gotta be careful now, since they've recently added a sound effect for the spawning of explosive archers. It sounds just like one of their shots, so you may be looking for the shot when an archer actually hasn't come out yet. It's a little weird, but it's just the way it works. Alright, so for the most part, we are done.
Now I will be even better at killing things.
I do love traps.
With that side, there's a couple more things that we'll want to build in the overhangs here, but most of them should be pretty much okay now. Let's see if we can get rid of this guy before he causes us too much of a problem. Okay,
Right there.
that should be good there. Then they get hit with the arrows. So we have damage here. We have very little over here, but that gate's not open yet, and most things should be dying when they come through that center area. There's a couple other things that we want to do. First, we're going to spike this a bit, just because things will be walking through there. And in just a few moments, we will have to deal with this gate. So we're going to start preparing for that now. Alright, so we have an assassin coming from somewhere. There we go. So we want to just try to lure him back towards the Guardian so the Guardian can get some extra damage if I don't kill him myself. Alright, all good there. Now that we have a bit of coin, we're going to place that on the corner. Toss some spikes in there. And then we're going to do this crossfire with the Spitfire
On another front.
to ensure that we get some solid burns going. Enemies that sort of zigzag will be caught by one of the other Spitfires, and it will make sure that we don't spend a lot of time with things that aren't on fire trying to come through. A good thing about this particular gate is that you can see it from
Stop that.
areas where you have Rift Lord active from the Rift naturally. And that makes it so that you can deal a lot of damage here. I'm taking Get Off Your Lawn because of the proximity to the Rift that we can fight at here. And it will allow you to deal a ton of damage if I can actually hit things properly.
Unstable rift is opening. Quick,
Like that.
destroy it.
Alright, that's summoned right here, so you can definitely murder that really easily thanks to Rift
Unstable rift has been destroyed.
Rift Lord?
More explosions is always good, yes?
Why are these guys still alive? Alright, let's do that. Get a little bit more damage inside of there. Alright, for the most part, we're looking good. I want to get some slows in there, but they're not super needed yet. Oh gosh, they're getting kind of far. Alright. Yeah, without as many traps over here as I would like initially, we'll have to babysit this lane a bit. The Guardian and these traps that I have placed on the corner here will do okay in keeping those guys at bay, but what we will want here is some more fire traps going this way and wall chargers. What you can do in the meantime, if you don't have enough things, is sort of set up a decoy there. They will attack it and it will keep them off your back. And since we have almost enough coin to finish everything off now, we will add a wall charger here. Now, for whatever reason, you don't seem to be able to place a wall charger right on this corner, and that's okay. We can place another one here and here, and that takes care of just about everything. This wave, I believe we have Lysander coming.
A boss is on his
Yep,
way.
there we go. So what we're going to do is move to where he's coming from, drop our little mini rift,
Unstable rift is
and that's a very unfortunate location for that rift to spawn. Gonna fight my way towards it, but we absolutely need to make sure it dies.
We have destroyed the unstable rift.
Now these guys are not guaranteed to die in this little kill box because they're all high HP. So head back to kill those, get back to our stable hand for another speed boost, and then go back to some trap building. So we're gonna slow what comes through there, and if I had more coin, I'd build a couple of ballistas here, but mostly anything else that's coming through there should be dead. Not really worried about it. So you can start here. Most of the enemies that are coming from the top gate should be dead, and then you want to head back and start murdering the things that come out of here, because they're going to come out with a dread and it's going to increase their max HP. More HP on enemies is always bad for you, so you want to chip away at it as soon as you can. Alright, are you going to die from the fire? Yes, you will.
My connection with the rift is growing stronger.
Alright, looks like for the most part everything's dead. Just got one more heavy, and that's it.
I am suffering from
So there we go. No barricades. Wow, another key. Okay. So that should be pretty good. It will allow you to carry yourself a bit better. If you have anything that can increase the amount of starting coin or any discount scrolls, you can set up a bit more tar. And without the use of barricades, tar is really, or slows specifically, not just tar, because there are things like the temple alarm gong and also web spinners, which will slow enemies down and give you time to sort of control your space better. So you can see that because of Cygnus's Rift Lord, I did a lot of damage there. If you're using a character that doesn't deal as much burst damage or deal damage as quickly, you're going to want to make sure that you have some crowd control to allow your traps to sort of deal more of the damage, because they will need to pick up the slack where you can't. So other than that, this should be pretty good. Let me know if you guys have any questions or a better way to do that, and I'll see what we can do to sort of tweak it. Either way, I hope you guys learned something from this. I sincerely appreciate you for tuning in, and as always, until next time, have a good one, folks.